Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Lindsay Clancy? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case, move to the timeline of the alleged crime, then offer my analysis. Lindsay Clancy was born in 1990 and was raised in Wallingford, Connecticut. She graduated from high school and later from college. At some point, she found work as a nurse at a hospital in the state of Massachusetts. Lindsay married a man named Patrick Clancy. The couple lived in the town of Duxbury. This is about 43 minutes south of Boston. The couple had 3 children, Cora, Dawson, and Callan. In early 2023, Lindsay was 32 years old, Cora was 5, Dawson was 3, and Callan was 8 months old. Now moving to the timeline of the alleged crime. On January 24, 2023, Lindsay Clancy took her daughter to an appointment with a pediatrician. Lindsay left the pediatrician's office and returned home, at which time she played with Cora and Dawson outside in the snow. They built a snowman. Lindsay texted photographs of the children playing to her husband Patrick and to her mother. The content of the messages was not out of the ordinary. At 4:02, Lindsay searched the term Kids Miralax on her cell phone. At 4:13 p.m., Lindsay searched Takeout 3V. She was referring to the 3V restaurant located in Plymouth, Massachusetts, not far from Duxbury. At 4:47 p.m., Lindsay searched for CVS and called CVS in Kingston. She asked the manager if the store carried children's Miralax. At 4:53 p.m., Lindsay sent a text message to Patrick, who at that time was working in the basement of their home. Lindsay asked him if he wanted takeout from 3V. She indicated that she did not cook anything and it had been a long day. Patrick texted back, yes. At 5:06 p.m., the couple finalized their takeout order. 4 minutes later, Lindsay called the restaurant and placed the order using Patrick's name. At 5:15 p.m., Patrick left to pick up the order and to get the children's medication from CVS. He arrived at CVS at 5:32 p.m. He made his purchase and departed 5 minutes later. He arrived at the 3V restaurant at 5:54 p.m. and picked up the takeout order. What Patrick did not know is, while he was gone, Lindsay allegedly attacked all 3 children by strangling them with exercise bands. Cora and Dawson were killed immediately. Callan was mortally wounded and would die 3 days later. After the alleged attack, Lindsay made her way out of a second-story window and was severely injured upon landing on the ground. Patrick arrived home at 6:09 p.m. He did not see or hear Lindsay or the children. He called Lindsay, but she did not answer her phone. He made his way to his bedroom on the second floor and found that the bedroom door was locked. He called 911 at 6:11 p.m. after seeing blood on the floor and noticing that a window was open. While on the phone with the operator, Patrick ran out to the backyard and found his wife on the ground. Lindsay told him that their children were in the basement, which is where Patrick discovered them moments later. Lindsay was transported to a hospital and treated for severe injuries to her spine. She was charged with murder, strangulation or suffocation, and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Now moving to my analysis. Lindsay Clancy has retained an attorney who appears to be building a defense based on 2 ideas. 1, Lindsay was given too many medications, and this could have restricted her ability to know the difference between right and wrong. And 2, Lindsay may have had postpartum psychosis, which is a rare condition that causes hallucinations and/or delusions in women who have recently given birth. Before I analyze the potential culpability in this case, let's take a look at what the research has to say about the type of homicide alleged in this case and the construct of postpartum psychosis. Starting with the homicide, 3% of all homicide arrests in the United States involve parents who killed their children. When a mother commits a crime like the one allegedly committed by Lindsay, the typical profile specifies a woman who is 19 years or younger, poorly educated, and not married. Lindsay does not fit any of those criteria. There are four main motives that drive a crime like this. Altruism. This is when the mother believed that what she did was good for the children. Inconvenience. Here the mother believes that the children have become a burden. Unintentional death. The harm was intentional, but the death was not. And psychosis. This involves a break from reality. What does the research tell us about postpartum psychosis? Psychosis after childbirth is often connected to the construct of postpartum depression. Somewhere between 50 and 80% of new mothers will experience postpartum depression. It is characterized by mood swings, irritability, changes in appetite, feelings of inadequacy, and anxiety concerning the mother's ability to care for her children. Women with postpartum depression often view themselves as bad mothers. About 17% of mothers who suffer from postpartum depression will experience severe depression. On rare occasions, this can include psychotic symptoms and is referred to as postpartum psychosis. Only 0.2% of new mothers will experience postpartum psychosis, so 2 in every 1,000. This condition is considered extremely dangerous because of the disconnection from reality. Mothers with this condition will often have hallucinations, delusions, become disoriented, and have extreme emotional volatility. A child of a mother with untreated postpartum psychosis has about a 4% risk of being murdered in the first year of their life. With this in mind, do I think that Lindsay Clancy is guilty based on the evidence available so far? Let's take a look at the factors both for and against the idea that Lindsay is guilty, starting with the inculpatory factors. There is no question that Lindsay caused the death of her 3 children. Her defense is not disputing this. On January 27, 3 days after the killings, Lindsay signaled for a whiteboard and wrote the question, quote, "Do I need an attorney?" unquote. This indicates an understanding that her behavior was wrong. According to the prosecution, during a mental health evaluation after the incident occurred, Lindsay used her mental health clinician's phone to call her husband Patrick. Lindsay told Patrick that a voice compelled her to kill. Patrick told the police that his wife had never reported hearing voices before, and she never used the word psychosis. The first time she used the word psychosis was when she was being evaluated by the mental health clinician hired by her defense. Lindsay kept a detailed journal of her daily activities, which included her mental state and medication consumption. The state argued that her writing was clear, precise, and articulate. At no time did she indicate that she was having hallucinations, delusions, or any type of disordered thoughts or speech. The state contends that Lindsay was assessed not long before the incident, and she did not have postpartum depression, but rather she was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. The day before the killings, Lindsay recorded an entry in a journal indicating she had a, quote, touch of postpartum anxiety around returning to work, unquote. Lindsay's behavior right before the killings appears to indicate premeditation. She looked up on her phone how long it would take to travel to the restaurant and back to her home, as if she was trying to make sure that Patrick was away from home long enough for her to commit the murders. Lindsay had ordered from that restaurant before, but typically she ordered takeout from restaurants which were closer. As far as the over-medication theory, Lindsay was never prescribed more than 4 or 5 medications at one time. At the time of the killings, she was only taking 3 different medications. Under the circumstances, that is not a particularly high number of medications to be taking. Moving to the exculpatory factors, Lindsay may have only been taking 3 medications at the time of the killings, but in the past 8 months, she had been on 13 different medications. A few examples: Prozac, Benadryl, Seroquel, amitriptyline, Trazodone, Remeron, Lamictal, Klonopin, Ativan, and Valium. Lindsay made a pronounced effort to address her mental health symptoms after telling her husband she had thoughts about causing harm to her children. This conversation occurred in December 2022. On January 1, 2023, Lindsay checked herself into a mental health facility in Belmont. She was discharged on January 5. A few days after returning home, she indicated that she was no longer having the thoughts. It does appear as though Lindsay planned the killings in advance, but she did not plan them far in advance. Perhaps she had a rapid onset of psychotic symptoms. Usually there are a number of warning signs before a person becomes psychotic. However, psychotic features can sometimes affect a person quickly and without any warning. Like one moment they seem fine, and the next moment they are having hallucinations and delusions. Lindsay's homicidal behavior was extremely out of character for her, which supports the idea that she was psychotic. Her attorney submitted several letters of support to the court written by people who knew Lindsay. She was described as compassionate, supportive, empathic, kind, thoughtful, positive, loving, patient, and selfless. People said that she was full of energy, a ray of sunshine, and an excellent nurse. When considering all the evidence that is available at the time making this video, do I think that Lindsay Clancy is guilty? While there is no way to know for sure, in my opinion, I do not think she's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. I think one could make a good argument that she was psychotic and her psychosis was not being adequately treated. When looking at the common motives for these types of killings, Lindsay's behavior best fits with the motive of psychosis. Now, one could certainly make the argument that a person with mental health symptoms is not automatically alleviated of responsibility for their behavior, but in this case, Lindsay made an adequate effort to get treatment for her symptoms. She went to a mental health facility voluntarily and was admitted. It's not like she had these frightening symptoms and just said, "Oh, I'm not going to worry about it." There's this sense in this case that Lindsay was trying to do her best to deal with unexpected mental health symptoms. Now, just because I believe that Lindsay can make a strong case that she was psychotic and therefore would not be criminally responsible, I do think she needs to be in a locked facility for a long time. Her behavior was completely unacceptable and devastating. Before releasing her, authorities need to make sure that Lindsay is no longer a threat to anyone. They need to figure out what caused this terrible situation. Now, moving to my final thoughts. One of the primary criticisms about the mental health treatment community is that clinicians do not approach mental health symptoms with a standardized methodology as would be seen in other fields and industries. For example, if somebody pulled their car into a repair shop with a tire that was losing air, they would probably have the same range of solutions presented no matter where they were. For example, they could patch the tire, put their spare tire on, or simply buy a new tire. In the world of mental health, the treatment possibilities for any particular symptom are highly variable. A person could walk into the office of a psychotherapist and say that they were depressed, and from that point, the treatment could go in a million different directions. I don't think this is a problem caused by bad therapists. I think it's caused by the complexity of human behavior. The truth is, human behavior is difficult to predict, and if a person has psychosis, their behavior is just about impossible to predict. Those are my thoughts in the case of Lindsay Clancy. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.